United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Sure.
Yes.
Anybody have anything you want to take up or stand alone and talk about it? No?
Actually, I just have one thing.
Go ahead.
Which is R1455. Tim had said he would fill that position. I don't know if we have someone on. I don't think Tim was overly excited. But he said in his email that he would. So I just don't know,
In what direction are we going on for the reps for
because we hadn't had any
CRHC?
discussion prior to
Well,
this.
basically, the Monmouth County Regional Health Commission is a very important, and they serve a very valid function. That is our health department, and we do pay. It's been a number of years. We can have a volunteer appointed, but I think it's very important going forward, especially now with the recovery and things that are happening, to have some representation out there. They generally meet, I think, once a month. I think it's like, I want to say 6 o'clock on a Tuesday. And I would be willing to serve in the interim, and hopefully we can maybe have another person or so who might be interested in that too. I think the last one we had served, Mayor, was Catherine James. So I think that's how far back it goes.
Okay.
So
So you take it on now and then we'll.
I'll take it on now if you want me to. And,
Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to bring it to the attention.
Did I just look myself in something?
You really did. You look everything up.
Yeah.
Okay. With that, I'll move the consent agenda.
Offered by Mayor Noel,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Redmond. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francis?
Yep.
Ms. King? Yes. Mayor Noel.
Yes.
Moving on to other resolutions, resolution R1457, resolution awarding professional grant writing services.
Tim, you want to
There's a
speak?
blank in the name and the dollar amount, and that would be for Millennium Strategic Company, and that'd be for $4,000 a month.
Okay, we had a couple of council people and Mr. Hill interviewed two firms that solicited and made a application. Tim, you want to speak to it briefly?
Yeah, basically we had 3 firms reply and 2 firms, Bruno Associates and Millennium Strategies, came in and did formal presentations to the committee. Based on the findings of the committee and the fit that we're looking for, recommendation is that we hire Millennium Strategies. They do come at a cost. Their price was $4,000 per month. It was lower than the other costs, and there was a company that sort of gave us an idea that they would do an hourly rate, and I don't think we were really interested in an hourly rate. We expect a lot of work to be done, and we wanted to have a firm number. So at this point, the recommendation, Councilwoman Ryan and Mr. Francie were also on the committee and interviewed and reviewed the material, and I think our recommendation is to go with Millennium Strategies. On the out clause of that, there is about a 30-day out clause, so if we're not happy with their performances, there's no long-term contract with them, and they expect us to be very active. We do know that the public and the different agencies in town are looking for grants as well, but that will be funneled through a single entity. We're not going to be able to have everybody call them, so that'll be very modified, but we'll come with all your ideas as well, and we'll bring it to the table.
Any questions?
Any comments or additions?
No, we met with each company at length and asked them many questions, and I'm confident that we made the right decision.
You also have a professional background in it, so you kind of knew what they had.
So, they're good.
Great. I'll offer it.
Offered by Mayor Noel,
I'll second it.
second by Ms. Ryan. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francis?
Yes.
Ms. King? Yes. Mayor Noel.
Yes.
Resolution R1458, resolution awarding professional engineering services for the assistance in the strategic recovery plan report.
This is just putting a contract to the ordinance we already passed. I believe, correct, Mr. Hill? What you talked about was Steve Nelson, anybody else involved? Tim?
I'm sorry?
It's okay, you want to just talk to the strategic planning services?
Steve, I can defer to Steve on,
Okay.
Steve is here. I'm sorry.
Folks, thanks. Yeah, just very briefly, this is, the borough was or is about to be awarded $20,000 to hire professional service to help. The strategic recovery planning report, I always get my tongue tied around that, is a DCA required report if the borough wants to apply for future funding. So I view this as filling two functions. One is it brings all the planning work that's been done in the past, in recent past together, and then asks the council to prioritize. Secondarily, maybe three things. Secondarily, it puts costs that should be better cost estimates than FEMA did, because FEMA didn't really have a lot of time, didn't have engineering staff. That's one of the things that Dale from Hippies hired is going to accomplish. And thirdly, it opens the door to other monies that DCA has for
Okay.
So I'd be happy to answer any more detailed questions. It's a fairly, I think, comprehensive process. I'm happy to talk about that ad nauseum if you'd like.
Everybody have something? Everybody in between? All offered?
Offered by Mayor Noel. Second by Ms. King. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francis?
Yes.
Ms. King? Yes. Mayor Noel.
Yes.
Resolution R-1459, resolution awarding professional bond counsel services.
Bruce, you want to talk to this?
Sure, this is just to continue Mr. Jessup's firm. for-
Sewer authority, and whatever.
Right, and also for the EIT.
Okay.
This is the new project we talked about,
Storm.
the bonds for the EIT.
Right, I mean, Steve has briefly mentioned that there's a new project sort of in the deal.
One that obviously you handle that as well as finishing the sewer authority.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's what we're about to resolution now, bringing in Scotland.
Perfect. Okay, I'll offer that.
Offered by Mayor Noel.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Redmond. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francis?
Yes.
Ms. King? Yes. Mayor Noel.
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution R-1460, resolution awarding contract for solid waste and recycling pickup. And I believe there is a.
Yeah, it didn't make it onto this one, but the amount of the contract is actually $4 less than what it says, so it's $643,900 instead of $904. And they're gonna most likely commence on February 17th, 2020, since that's the beginning of the ministerial change.
With that, would someone offer that?
I'll offer it.
Second.
Offered by Mr. Redmond, seconded by Mr. Francis. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francis? Ms. King? Yes. Mayor Noel.
Yes.
Motion carries. Moving on to ordinances. On for second reading and public hearing is ordinance 0-14-01. An ordinance of the Borough of Hamilton, the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, dissolving the Advanced Finance Planning Agency Authority pursuant to NJSA 48:5A-20. This was published in the January 24th edition of the Two River Times and may now be open for a public hearing.
May I have Matt do a brief discussion? of
Please.
what it is, and introduce yourself to the folks?
Yep, absolutely. Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. I am Matt Jensen, partner with McManaman, Scotland and Bauman. We've had the privilege of being Highlands bond counsel throughout last year on several matters, including the dissolution with Atlantic Highlands of the Atlantic Highlands Regional Sewer Authority. The two ordinances and resolution before you, all in connection with the dissolution. Back in January, the Highlands and Atlantic Highlands appeared before the local finance board. That's a procedure required under law, need the local finance board approval of the dissolution. Not only did the board grant unanimous approval to the dissolution of the authority by the two municipalities, but Tom Neff, the director of the board, praised the councils, the administration of both municipalities for making what Tom recognized was a difficult but smart fiscal decision. So wanted to make sure everybody here received that message from Tom Neff and from the Finance Board that they were effusive in the actions that the municipalities are taking. You have three actions before you tonight. The first is the dissolution ordinance. Two primary things I wanted to highlight with that ordinance. One, the dissolution takes effect on March 31, 2014. It's basically on April 1st. The doors are yours. And two, the ordinance splits all assets, liabilities, the existing debt of the authority, any cash that the authority has that's left over, 52% to Highlands, 48% to Atlantic Highlands, with two exceptions. One, Highlands is receiving the vehicle, or there's a
52, what's the split? 52?
52 to
52,
Highlands,
48.
48 to Atlantic Highlands.
Yeah.
Right. The truck that the authority owns is coming to Highlands, and the land, and there's a building in Atlantic Highlands that is going to Atlantic Highlands in great part because their pump station is located
right
on
in
the
there.
same lot.
It's in their
Exactly.
town.
The other primary driver in that allocation, going back to October of 2001 through 2012, the flows have been 52.59% Highlands and 47.41% Atlantic Highlands. So virtually exactly the dissolution allocation that you're proposed here tonight, 52-48. You add in the vehicle and the land, and it gets you right where you've been for the last 12, 13 years.
They actually pay 48% then of our pipe that goes down to Middletown directly.
That's exactly right. Correct. The second ordinance is the bond ordinance itself. That ordinance, one, assumes your pro rata share, your 52% share of all of the existing debt of the authority, and two, it authorizes for Highlands just shy of $160,000 in new money to finish the project that the authority has been doing, your pipe, that was financed through an interim note last year through the authority and will be permanently financed by the two municipalities in May of 2014. We had conversations with the authority about where they are with cash, how much money they've spent on the project. We're waiting for numbers back from the trust. It may be that $160,000 is enough. It may be that we need another $150,000. There'll be time between now and May to bring that before you if it's necessary. We just don't have that information yet.
Sure.
But the attempt was to have this cover all of that amount. It sounds like after some discussions with the authority, there may be a little bit of additional money needed to close out that project. Finally, you have a resolution. I know you're not probably used to this, but the resolution does require its own separate public hearing under the law. That resolution says that you have looked at the alternative of issuing your own bonds to take out the authority bonds versus just assuming the debt of the authority. And as much as I'm a fan of issuing bonds, we looked at all of that. The existing authority debt was issued either through the MCIA with their AAA rating, so you have AAA rates there which can't be beat, or their debt was issued through the NJEIT where 50% of that debt is at AAA rates and 50% of that debt is at 0%. Obviously, there's no deal that Highlands or any other municipality in the state of New Jersey can get that's going to beat those rates. So for those reasons, the determination in the resolution is made that the decision is to assume the debt and just pay the portion of the debt service like you pay your own debt service now, versus issuing new obligations on your own to take out that debt. All three items do need their own public hearing. The bond ordinance does require 2/3 of the full governing body, and those ordinances are effective immediately. They are not subject to referendum. There is some filing we will do once we get copies of the documents from the clerk's office with the state of New Jersey, and at that point, we're moving forward with the balance of the dissolution.
And Matt, so we all understand, because by sunshine law, only two of us could be there in those meetings that I guess were about 2 years on Friday.
Right.
Our counterparts in Atlantic. If, for instance, we didn't dissolve and the authority failed, both towns are responsible for the debt and everything else anyway, correct?
Yes, both boroughs are automatically responsible for the existing debt of the authority as well as for any expenses in excess of their revenues by virtue of your existing service contracts with the authority. So if the authority just stopped collecting revenue, each municipality, based on flow, based on actual flow, and again, 12-year history, that's exactly the number we're at anyway, each municipality would be responsible for the pro rata portion of the authority's debt already.
Do you remember off the top of your head how much that whole project was start to finish? Take us down into what they call Burn Valley?
Is that the project from last year?
2.9. It was almost 3 million.
It was 3.14 million in total. My understanding is they have definitely hit the full $3.14 million.
Imagine that. Okay. All right, thank you, sir.
All right, you got it.
We'll open up the public hearing to 14-01, ordinance dissolving the Atlantic Highlands Regional Sewer Fund. Anybody have any questions on that, what we're doing and why we're doing it? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing.
On for final reading and adoption is ordinance 0-14-1, an ordinance of the Borough of Highlands in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, dissolving the Atlantic Highlands Regional Sewer Authority pursuant to NJSA 38:5A-1.
I'll offer it.
Offered by Mayor Nolan. Second by Ms. Kane. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francis?
Yes.
Ms. Kane? Mayor Mellon?
Yes.
Motion carries. On for second reading and public hearing is bond ordinance 0-14-2, bond ordinance of the Borough of Highlands in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, in furtherance of the dissolution of the Atlantic Highlands Regional Sewer Authority, appropriating $5,731,272, therefore, and authorizing not to exceed $5,731,272 principal amount of bonds or notes in connection therewith. This was published in the January 24th edition of the New York Times and may now be up for a public hearing.
I'll open up 14-02, bond ordinance for dissolution of Atlantic Highlands Regional Sewer Authority. Basically, the whole conversation of what we just talked about. Any questions? Okay. Seeing none, I'll close.
On for final reading and adoption, bond ordinance 0-14-2, bond ordinance of the Borough of Highlands in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, in furtherance of the dissolution of the Atlantic Highlands Regional Sewer Authority, appropriating $5,731,272, therefore, and authorizing not to exceed $5,731,272 principal amount of bonds or notes in connection therewith.
I'll offer it.
Offered by Mayor Mellon,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Redmond. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francis?
Yes.
Ms. Kane? Mayor Mellon?
Yes.
Motion carried. Moving on to the public hearing for Resolution R-1462, resolution of the Borough of Highlands in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, making certain determinations in connection with the assumption of certain outstanding obligations of the Atlantic Highlands Regional Sewer Authority.
We'll open 14-62, the assumption of obligations of the Atlantic Highlands Regional Sewer Authority. Can't wait till we don't have to say that anymore. Couple months. Anybody have any questions on that? Basically, the towns are responsible anyway, and this is just a resolution stating that we're assuming our share of that debt. Seeing none, I'll close.
Okay, on for final reading and adoption is Resolution R-1462, resolution of the Borough of Highlands in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, making certain determinations in connection with the assumption of certain outstanding obligations of the Atlantic Highlands Regional Sewer Authority.
I'll offer it.
Offered by Mayor Mellon,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Redmond. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francis?
Yes.
Ms. Kane? Mayor Mellon?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay.
Mayor Mellon, at this time, if we could do the Mr. Hill resolution, R-1462, which Bruce has prepared.
You want to read that, Bruce? Repeat the read for us?
Sure, just for the benefit of everyone, 60.
How is it?
Yeah, it should be 60.
No, I don't want to be dissolved.
You have till March 31st.
Remember, Mr. Hill was appointed administrator in December 2011. His contract expired in December of 2013. At that time, we passed a resolution extending it for 2 months so we could negotiate a successor agreement. We've now reached agreement on terms of that agreement. They'll be approved by this resolution R-14-63. Resolution approving agreement with Tim Hill to serve as administrator for the term December 7th, 2013 through December 6th, 2016. Whereas Tim Hill served as borough administrator since December 7th, 2011. Whereas Hill's term expired December 6th, 2013. Whereas Hill and the borough agreed to extend the terms of his employment until February 6th, 2014, while the parties negotiated a successor agreement. And whereas the parties have agreed to the terms of the successor employment agreement with Tim Hill to serve as borough administrator, now therefore be it resolved by the governing body that the borough approves an agreement with Tim Hill in substantially the same form as attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference for the term of December 7, 2013 through December 6, 2016.
Okay, I'll speak to it first. I think Tim's the best at this position that we've had since I've been here. I've been here since 2005, beginning of 2005. We got a lot of big things coming up, a lot of important things coming up. We can't afford to trade down. So I'll offer that.
I'll second. Offered by Mayor Mellon, second by Ms. Kane.
Yes. Roll call?
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francis?
Yes.
Ms. Kane? Mayor Mellon?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Moving on to committee reports, we start with committee.
Steve,
I have one thing that I wanted to report tonight. Recently, Tim and I have filed a CDBG Essential Services Grant application with the Division of Local Government Services. We have basically gotten together and came up with what we thought was essential and kind of Sandy related in coming up with this, and put some dollars together with it, and then file this application. We included code enforcement. We included the uniform construction, a code official, for the extra time that he's been putting in, and his secretary. We put in the lease of borough facilities. We put in for tax appeals, both on the assessor side and the legal side. We put in for a DPW manager. I don't remember if we actually put in a grant writer, though. I'm not sure if we came up with that. But regardless of that, we did put in this application. We asked for approximately $340,000. Within the next 2 weeks or so, Tim and I will be going to Trenton to meet with them. We're probably going to have joint meetings that day on this application and on the potential of getting the CDL grant turned from a loan to a grant. So that's what we have planned for the next couple of weeks. This application's in. There's a pro forma budget that was submitted. And as an aside to that, I would like to set up a meeting, we don't have to do it tonight, but of the budget committee, which is the mayor and the council president, to discuss where we're at and where we're going.
You want to wait till you have your meeting in 2 weeks, or you want to do it before that?
We'll do it whatever's convenient for you guys.
Okay, I didn't know if you had that.
If you want to wait till the CDL meeting.
If you want to wait till the CDL meeting, we can do that, that's
Because
fine.
it's a large chunk of money.
Right, but I would still like between the three of us, put together some dates so we can have that meeting set up. Okay,
We'll
that's
start
it.
that email conversation tomorrow. How's that?
Okay, that's it for my report.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Public safety, I know the chief's here. Chief, got anything?
Yes, I submitted my reports, a few little things. Emergency first aid. Since 2005, we've dual dispatched Monarch with our first aid. And recently we had a patient, she wanted to refuse Monarch. She thought she was going to be billed for the service. Now, according to compliance with all state and federal billing regulations, they do not bill the town, they do not bill the patient, they do not bill the first aid squad. I just want people to know that in case they're under the same misconception. The second thing I want to bring up is we've had several burglaries of mostly vacant houses wherein copper is being taken out of the houses, the plumbing. So we do urge anyone with any information on these to give us a call. Or if they see anything suspicious, please call us at the time it's happening. And don't wait, which is usually the case. We usually get a call back a day later, which is a lot of help. The last thing I have is the Highlands Municipal Alliance, along with the Highlands Police Department and the Atlantic Highlands Police Department, is going to hold a parent forum, the new face of Harlem. It's on February 24th at 7 p.m. at Henry Hudson Regional Pool. It'll be like a round table discussion. There'll also be question and answer period. A lot of this has to do with the recent overdose of a younger person in Atlantic Highlands. We've held these in the past. Typically, we haven't gotten good response from the citizens coming out to these. We're hoping we will, especially with what's been going on in Ocean County with certain types of heroin. That's my report.
Chief, can you send us an email about that, and then we could maybe do a robocall or something?
Sure, we just
If that's-
just
you think that's
finalized, I
perfect.
think 2 days ago, one day to finalize.
Yeah, I think they did the flyer today. We'll circulate that out.
The flyers are in the public package.
Great.
Okay.
Just trying to-
Chief, we received, the council received an email from a woman living on Waterwich who had some concerns about the crossing guards, which are hired by your department. And the big concern that she had, and she's going to school about it also, is people have been out. They've been on vacation.
Or sick.
They've been sick. Things have happened. Do we have any way of dealing with that?
Yes, what we do is we post an officer there.
Thank you.
What happened this particular day, the lady sent an email, I went down there, and I think you and I talked about this briefly. The lady was coming from Waterwich and Bay and walking them up, because where Wally normally is, I guess he was on vacation. So she was coming up and walking and coming back, but there was obviously a lapse of coverage there.
Yeah, there was a few minute period where someone wasn't there. We had officers in court. I was on a call, the other officer was on a call. We got down there a couple of seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll let that go.
Administration?
Yeah, one item I want to bring to attention, Lee Wordsman from Arcadis unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. His dad passed away. And unfortunately, after his dad passed away, he got a call the next day up in New York State that his uncle had passed. So he's making arrangements for his mother's brother as well. So he's in our thoughts, but he did extend his, he called today and said, gee, do you mind if I don't come?
Of course.
And I didn't know what to tell him. I didn't know how the roads were up there, but he will be back in working with us. He did want to report, though, we are setting up a meeting with the residents with the Irene House lifting the week of February 18th. We're going to get the date and the selection of the place. The governing body will also be apprised of that. It won't be an open public meeting for the general public, but it'll be for those residents for the Irene House lifting. So they're getting ready to roll that out. For the PP demo project, we are working still with our state liaisons, and we have appealed the denial for the time extension. Some of the items that we're hearing from various areas are that there's also going to be additional community development monies that are going to be released in the future, so that if we don't hit the HMGP monies with the demo, perhaps there's going to be another pot of money that may be able to expand on that. But we're going to keep our appeals going with this demo so that we're in it the whole way down the road. I think another community just appealed their demo project and was approved. So there's a lot of things hanging out there, so we're pushing that. As I mentioned, too, the new firm maps have been released. I don't know how many people have gotten emails on that, but I think I got about 12. So I apologize if I sent them out to the governing body, but the new maps are out. We will have a comment period, and we're going to see what we can do to set up perhaps another mayor town hall meeting, informational meeting on what the new firm maps really mean. We just got them FedExed in, so we haven't really had a chance to go over what's in the packet, but there's some changes. But if you go on the FEMA website, I believe it's already up there too for the region too.
Tim, where will we have it
That's
available to the public, do you think?
the firm maps. Actually, I can make the maps, I think, available tomorrow, but I'm not going to be able to decipher some of the information. We will have them down at the trailer at 42 Shore Drive, but they can't be taken from there. They're big maps, and we can't make copies. The only thing I'm disappointed in, too, Highlands doesn't have its own page. We're on like 4 different pages, so you got to flip through.
Sounds like I got the last one.
The engineer will also eventually have a full set down at 19 Bay, so at either location, but we expect to have that info available down at the Borough Hall tomorrow.
But
We're-
they're all on the website. People can access them on the
Sure,
website.
absolutely.
You bring up a PDF, and you keep enlarging until you get down to your particular piece of property, and it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, a lot of good access on that. Another item I did want to bring to the attention of the governing body, the workforce development program has been extended. There's a couple different parts of that. From what we understand, they call it the National Emergency Grant for that purpose. That program has been extended to December of 2014. However, they haven't had the funding allocation put in place yet. So what that means to us locally is we can continue with our existing workforce development program under the allocation that we had for the modification number 4. But these employees are faced with the same parameters as before of the 6 months or whatever, definite internal. Workforce has requested, if we need to, is we can request an exception for them. If we have the monies allocated internally already that we saved from the program not starting right away. So we're going to work on that. I'll get back to the governing body as soon as we know what that means, but it gives us an opportunity to perhaps keep things moving at certain paces, and we know there's a lot of recovery left in the town. Going on to Department of Public Works, I know snow removal has been challenging. The guys have been out there a lot. I know in terms of the last couple events, I don't think this crew of 3 has seen that much snow, probably in a couple years. In addition, we had over 140 hours with the seasonal hires that we had during the last couple storms to try to keep things moving. We are faced with some vehicle repairs, but the mechanic is on those, I would say, on a regular basis. We've had some minor things going on, but we're keeping up with that. The DPW also responded to various sewer issues. They did follow up with Oswald, and we did determine that 2 of those issues reported were not of borough's responsibility. It was something that the individual, the property owner, did to their pipe and actually caused the problem that they then, you know, it happens, but we weren't responsible for those repairs. They did get new barricades and cones in, so, and the street signs were finally delivered, so I don't think they're going to be putting them up tomorrow, but the street signs that were missing, some of those signs have been put into place. Building and housing, construction office, relatively light in terms of applications. They had 13 applications received, 34 permits were issued, total construction fees for the month of January, $16,314. Value of construction and improvements with those permits was $550,472. The inspection detail was 85 building, 70 electric, 17 plumbing, and 9 fire inspections were completed. For the zoning office, there were 15 approvals, 1 denial, 2 mercantile denials, 5 letters of violations were sent out for various causes, and 1 secondary review of a denial was sent for the zoning board for a hearing. Floodplain, there were 14 floodplain approvals and 1 elevation requirement letter that was sent. The CRS meeting was held on January 29th, and I would defer to Dale to touch base on that during the engineer's report, if I may.
I don't have one tonight.
You don't? Well,
No,
that's good.
that's the next meeting,
Do you want to give them the CRS
if you want to.
in a brief? Go
It's
ahead,
up to you.
30 seconds.
I got 30.
Is that all right, man?
All right, real quick, I did have that meeting that I've been trying to get with the state and FEMA. It was a successful meeting. They did note deficiencies that are still haunting us from the past that is keeping us out of the program. However, they have seen a turnaround in what we've done since Sandy, and it's I have to give them some more documentation. I will be sending a letter out, a mass letter to everybody downtown, stating I may be contacting you to discuss potential floodplain violations that would keep your house from being in compliance. It could be like you might need to add a flood vent, you might need to do a couple different things, but you may be hearing from me in the next couple months. And what that does, that helps you out on your insurance. It helps the borough out, because by us doing that, it's getting us into the system, which we're very close to finally, after all these years, getting into the community rating system. Once we get in the system, we start building points, then the insurance comes down further. So basically, we need everybody's help to kind of band together, take care of their own house. I'll be working with everybody that needs additional information, additional help, and then we can go from there. But it was a positive meeting. It looks like we're finally making progress getting into the community rating system.
Great. Anything else, Dave?
No, I'll dispense with the rest of the report tonight. Joe did mention the session that the Alliance had put together on the heroin, the new face of heroin, and we do want to encourage folks to get after that and really take advantage of some good information that's coming in.
Okay. Ms. Ryan, library?
I have nothing to report on the library, but I would like to talk about the newsletter.
Sure.
Okay, all right, okay. 2 weeks ago, I started meeting with representatives from other towns to see how they do it. And Seabright does an excellent newsletter, so I went and I spoke with them, and they told me how they did it. This is not the weekly blast. That's put out by the Resource Center. This is the quarterly newsletter. So I sat with them, and they actually hire it out. They have a company who puts it all together, one woman, and she's paid to edit it. But she gave me lots of very good ideas. And then I came back, and I met one last week with Jen Olson, a resident who offered to volunteer, and we sat down and talked about it. And this weekend, weather permitting, we'll be meeting with Carolyn Bouillon, who does the videotaping here for us, who she has offered also to help get this out. The biggest challenge is how we do it. It's not the content. We've got plenty of stuff to put in there.
Okay.
We want it to be extremely informative, and we are debating about how to get it out. It will be first class. It will be, and I'll have a report in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And I really do hope that we can have something going out by the end of March.
Great. Great.
Okay? Thank you.
We have nothing on the HDP or shared service, so there's nothing else, new business?
I have some questions for administration.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, Tim?
Yeah.
I would assume we would be reporting on status of the rec center and the Borough Hall projects?
We are meeting with the architect and engineer tomorrow on site at the community center. He wants to review additional, one of the recommendations was filling in the crawl space as one of the mitigations, so they want the engineer to come down and really take a hard look on how that would be done. Borough Hall, I don't have any movement on right now. I will get an update from Mr. Tomeno, and I plan on bringing him down to the Borough Hall tomorrow as well to take a real hard look at what we want to do there.
But those should be routine reporting?
Yeah, Joe's going to,
No, on your point of view.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'll try to have one at every council meeting.
Or the workshop session for sure. And the blue pump is still there,
The blue pump is still there.
North Street.
North Street. Yes.
I hate to look to my left, but he may have good news for you.
Friday. Pumping service is coming in Friday. As long as they can get to it, there's snow out of the way. Putting the pump in Friday and pulling the trailer out.
Okay, thank you.
Nice job. Kim Skorka?
Kim Skorka, 315 F Shore Drive. Please forgive me, I actually want to read my question for you tonight. I want to make sure it comes across clear and that I don't forget anything. I'm the FEMA Long-Term Recovery Project Champion for the Steep Slope Stabilization Project. As you're aware, this has been an important issue for me since 2007. For almost 7 years, I've been asking the council for help, and when the town was unable to assist, because it is private property, I asked for guidance and/or contacts. None were ever provided to me. I now have the opportunity, with Steve Nelson's direction, to seek guidance, information, and funding sources on stabilizing the slope through the entire town. I've now been told that I'm not allowed to speak to anyone to get the assistance because I can't speak on the town's behalf. While this project is important to me, this is not my individual crusade. It was nominated as an issue to be addressed by the town. The Mitigation and Infrastructure Committee presented the project, and the residents voted this as one of the 12 long-term recovery projects and gave it a rating as important. In the Community Recovery Plan, a project champion is described as, quote, someone who will shepherd the project forward to realize the plan's goals and community vision. Please tell me how I can help move this project forward if I'm not allowed to reach out and gather information.
I can address that if you'd like.
Please, did you have a conversation?
No, we've never had a conversation.
I've been speaking.
No, but I'm directing
Okay, yes.
my response to you. What I would like you to do, I don't think anyone ever told you couldn't gather information. And if you were told that, I think that was erroneous. In terms of having the authority, just keep in touch with us directly on what avenues you're taking so that we're not replicating, duplicating, or giving different opinions on. So if you keep me in the loop, I'll be more than happy to work with you, through Steve as well. If it came across as don't, I think that was too strong of a term, but you said that you were not allowed to gather information. I don't think that's accurate. You can gather information, but when you're dealing with agencies and authorizing or assuming an authorization on the borough's behalf, we just want to know what you're doing so that we're then not calling or doing different things.
I want to be Steve's gopher. I want him to say, I got some great ideas from Craig from FEMA. He told me to go to Steve. I went to Steve. I want Steve to coordinate my work, which I assume he would also coordinate for the town and the council. I want to make the phone calls. I want to take the meetings. I want to say, hey, what's out there? What can you do? Who can give me money? Who can tell me what to plant? Who wants to come look at it and try and coordinate that? Because I know you're busy. I know Steve's busy. While this is important, I know it's not the #1 priority out of our 12 projects. I want to do something to help move this forward. So if you say my role as a gopher, as an information gatherer is fine, and I can call these groups and departments and people, I'm happy to do it.
I just want to.
And I'll take the bull by the horn.
What we want to do is be kept in the, as I'll say again, we want to make sure that we're all going in the same direction. We've had many instances over the years prior to Sandy where people are acting on behalf of the borough, quote unquote, and then I get a call from a state official that says, who is this? You know, that type of thing, and then you have to, you know, so there's no objection. You can go out, anybody can go out and gather information. Just when you're acting in an official capacity of bringing something in, just give us the heads up. And I think all the champions should be or will be doing the same thing.
So it sounds like there's a little bit of a gray area here. So I can call like the Soil Commission in Freehold. And if I start asking questions,
Tell them who you
And-
are and why you're calling.
Right, and so there's no.
But I don't
problem
think,
with
I don't think you have to be a champion to call Freehold Soil Conservation District.
that.
Why do
Okay.
you think you can't?
That's the impression I'm getting
From whom now?
from Steve, that I was told that I shouldn't be doing this on my own.
Doing what, gathering information?
Calling, meeting, talking, bringing people out here if they want to come see the hill. Now I'm confused, and now
The role
I
of
don't
the champion,
understand.
in my mind, is gathering information and reporting that back to the borough official.
Okay, all I'm saying is keep us in, that's my comment. I apologize if you felt that you were told absolutely no. Gathering information, anyone can do without being on part of a steering committee or whatever.
So what do you
But bring it,
want
I think
me
bring
to do?
it back. I think if you bring the information that you're seeking, keeping us in the loop is important.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's my only, you have my email, you have my phone number. If you want to go that, or if you want to go through Steve, that's fine, but just keep someone informed as to, because if you want us there, if you want officials there, someone needs to be there. We need to know that too, we have to coordinate.
Send
They
anyone
won't
out.
come
unless
unless
there's
they
a-
Right.
town
In
rep.
which case, I would absolutely have to call you and say.
If you're dealing with
I have
private
this
property, I
connection.
can't comment on that because I
Right.
don't know, who's going to allow you on whose property, and that's a
Right.
whole nother can of worms. But we're certainly endorsing you to get that information.
Well,
And
and I
I'm-
think too, a little bit of the confusion lies with kind of where FEMA left it. Okay, they kind of left it and left. So now we're trying to figure out, what do you do with Project Champions? I have Joe Blewett coming in to the next council, or the first council meeting in March, to take his long-term recovery group, that's gonna come and give a presentation and say what they're gonna do you approve of it? So I think that's a positive step that we're all in the loop. I know what his group's gonna do for property maintenance and how they're gonna help and how they're gonna work with code enforcement, because that's what they were tasked to do, so they're gonna come in front of us and give a presentation. That might be beneficial for your group, I don't know if there's a group or if it's just you.
It's me. I'm a champion of one.
Champion of one, that's all you need sometimes. So you go ahead and give us a layout, this is what I'm looking to do, this is who I'm looking to call, we're all in the loop, and we know, if something goes awry out of left field, well, the soil commission's calling, Kim must have been there. At least we know.
Okay.
So that I think might just ease some of the heartburn, because I think even though there are project champions, there may be some that don't really do anything with their position. They serve, they did, it's over, and we may not ever have that person to lead that force, because I think what was there, like 12 projects, and I've only seen 2 that are looking to lead the charge. So, I mean, that's just a suggestion, it might be an easy way to do things, I'm saying, this is what I want to do, you guys on board with it.
Okay.
Steve?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, and Rebecca, I think your comments were right. This is a new situation for the borough. I mean, this is, we aren't quite sure how this is all going to work out. And I'm here to help the borough, much as Kim is, though I'm paid, she is not. But I would be happy to act as a coordinator of the champions, if you so choose, and work with them to get the information, because it will certainly help me then to help the borough, because there are a lot of threads still out there.
Correct.
And I would hope that some of the momentum that FEMA generated can be continued. So, I'm not sure, I can maybe talk to Tim after the meeting, sort of work out some of the details. But for instance, with Kim and I had a conversation the other week where she gave me several names of people that would be good resources, which I think are great resources. So some of them I can contact, some of them she can contact, as long as she and I are in contact,
Well,
not
that's
just
the-
contact.
that's the point, yeah.
Right.
And there's certain things, or certain groups will not send out a representative unless an official borough representative is there. For whatever reason, that's just what
Right,
the
sure.
way they operate. Okay.
But at the moment, I think this is more just
All gathering
getting
information.
information
And
so we can
processing
sort of
it and
figure out
figuring out
sort of
the
how big this thing is.
Okay,
Thank you.
sounds good. Kathy from Bradley Point?
Yes, hello.
Hi, Kathy.
I must say this is quite interesting. I've never come to one of these before. But I am on the board for the Gravelly Association. And as some of you have probably encountered in your service careers, I'm now stuck with reporting. So I'm here with 2 clarification questions. First is, it's my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that the town is responsible for plowing Bay Avenue from Waterwitch to Gravelly. And from Waterwitch, the other direction is the county. Is that correct?
The county does play, yes, Bay Avenue.
But they end, the county ends their
Right.
plowing at Waterwich.
Yeah, that's not the county road. Well, the county road goes up Waterwich. At Waterwich, that's not the county road from Waterwich down to
So
Gravel.
the difference in the appearance of the plowing is due to, how do I explain this?
Well, there's a lot of traffic.
I think
There's a
more
lot more traffic and
Yeah,
and
traffic.
probably
Probably the brine's the biggest
the,
thing.
the chemicals and the solutions they probably
Yep, they
put
got
out
larger plows.
are a lot different than what we have.
Well, I don't want to make this sound like we don't have the right stuff.
No, it's not, we don't have unlimited resources like the county. That's
Right.
what it comes down to.
You know, when you drive down the road and they're putting liquid down, I don't know if you've seen that with plows on the highway and stuff.
Right.
Well, that's what the county uses.
Oh, and so that the county has that capability.
The county has that capability.
Yeah, we don't have the equipment to do that in the expenses. Put that in the budget.
Right. You know, we don't have.
Right, we get it down to the low limit you could drive on, basically.
All right,
Okay?
simple question for that. And my second question was, now that we're changing trash pickup companies, is that my understanding correct?
Yes.
There seemed to have been some confusion this past week with all the snow events as to when it got picked up and when it didn't. And what's the mechanism for where a resident can go to see when if there's not getting picked up, or is there a place on the website that would be put up, or a community number to call?
They didn't get picked up on Monday.
They didn't make a pickup on Monday, no.
Due to weather.
Tuesday was pretty spotty as far as I was concerned. They picked up Wednesday, recycles and the garbage that was out there. It really is, sorry?
Just
recycle.
recycle, so they didn't pick up the regular garbage. Just recycle.
garbage,
Might have something to do
Yeah,
with
they
changing
bypass.
Yeah.
They're not gonna say
They know
they're
they're out.
I don't want to comment, we had, and I did want to say, we had numerous calls from all over, rightfully so. I've been in contact with Future probably every day, and I believe that they know that their contract is ending, and that's not a good reason at all. I also know if their equipment is deployed and stretched out through many communities, like you might say, well, if they missed us here, why don't they just come back the next day? I don't think they really have the, I don't think they have the equipment to provide that
I think there
service.
was always an issue with them being overextended anyway, to be honest.
And I believe they've lost out on a couple contract extensions through the renewal process.
Because of
So we are going to be starting with a new company. I'm going to assure everyone here, like I told our municipal office workers who graciously answered the calls throughout the week, be prepared for some bumps in the road going forward too. And I don't want to say that in that vein, but we are going to be changing companies. I don't expect a huge amount of problems, but as this new company gets on, we're going to meet with them extensively and go over some of the issues we had with the former company as well.
And Tim, I guess would be a good opportunity to put a mechanism in place if there is, for weather reasons, that everybody can understand, and this date really put on the website.
Yeah, absolutely. And notification from them has been, I've had to call.
I know that.
And I told them repeatedly, they should be calling us to let us know they're not,
company now.
give me the heads up, I'll take the hit, you're not coming. But it shouldn't have to be residents calling or myself calling or.
You're chasing them down to find out. Right.
So we're gonna.
Is there currently a place on the website that shows pickups?
Yeah, on the website, there is a button that shows the zone pickups, yes.
But it doesn't show when they're not coming.
Right, it won't show when they're not coming, that's just a standard button that we have up there for the zone, the pickups and the schedule.
Okay.
So we're gonna try to work in some type of system, I don't know, I can't say we can do reverse 911, but I don't know if there's a notification that could be sent out eventually through our website that if we're
People usually have their trash out anyway before it's a weather event.
That's the challenge.
Now, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, but if we know it and we can get it out, at least people will know. No, I don't disagree with you.
We don't know.
Right. And likewise, I had complaints.
Those comments.
I had complaints last week that they came too early.
I heard that 5:30.
And then I had complaints this week that why didn't they come early before the snow came? So when I tell
This
you,
company, when they came, they were coming at like 5 to 5 in the morning.
yeah, so we've been all over the board, and no disrespect to the company, but it is changing. We are meeting with the new company on Friday.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sorry about that.
When is the new company starting?
1500?
Yes.
I'm not sure.
February
Lois
17th, I think.
Major, and
I'm not sure.
I'm here representing the Highlandsborough Arts Council, and we asked for a resolution supporting the Highlands Arts Council.
We passed it.
Okay, I just didn't hear it being discussed. Oh, thank you very much.
Okay.
On behalf of the council and the board of the council, I'm very pleased that we're going to be working in a cooperative effort. And pretty soon I'll be asking Mr. Hill if we can use a space, a parking lot space right before the skateboard park, perhaps once a month for an art market when they're having the farmer's market over in the park.
Good idea.
So I'll be making that request.
Not a problem.
Sounds good, thank you. Tricia Rivera.
Tricia Rivera, 31 Waterway. I wanted to talk about all the various storms we're having and if we have specific plans for each event. We have nor'easters, snow and storm surges, just snow events, just ice storms. I mean, and it's all different the way it affects the town.
Plans as far as what, like, what, our
How we're
responses?
attacking it, basically.
Well, there's plans obviously for snow that involve a lot less, depending on how much snow.
Right.
And then with storm surges or God forbid flooding, then that goes over to the OEM who has the plan for all those different scenarios in place. And he works with all the, chief of police, fire department chief, and obviously the first aid chief also.
Right, but for each event, do we have?
Yeah, sadly, we've had to do a lot of those in the last 6 years.
Well, because, of the topography and obviously the infrastructure and the fact that downtown now has a lot of abandoned homes and unoccupied homes. There's a bigger burden, particularly downtown with snow. And today was a huge issue as far as flooding was concerned with the melting. And I had to call, I tried to call, so I couldn't get anybody on the phone. I had to actually go run and track down. And I was like, it was like Tiananmen Square, for me to get one of those guys to push the snow down, to push the water down the drain.
Okay.
So, it's really, on Waterway, it's getting really bad. Specifically, the road seems to be buckling even, where it's causing more huge puddles to stay in place.
I don't know,
Also,
the roads,
I
a lot of roads like all over. Yeah, the roads are definitely chewed up, there's no doubt about it. I don't know if they're buckling, but the point is taken.
Yeah.
They're definitely chewed up.
Yeah,
All over,
there
not just in
seems to
Highlands.
be- There seems to be water settling in places it never settled.
I agree with you,
Yeah.
no question.
And from what I
Everywhere
understand
there's
from
a
the
bad
DPW guy, he said you're supposed to plow curb to curb, which is not happening. So water is getting stuck in certain areas because it can't get to the drains. So luckily, I tracked one of them down and they helped.
And we put on extra people as seasonal.
They were actually,
employees.
I did get your call today, and they were deployed down there 3 times today for 3 different.
I actually had to run down.
I'm not disputing you, but I spoke to them directly when they were down there, and that was prior to me getting your call. So I know they were trying to keep up with it. As more snow melted, same thing up on the hill. They were up there, and then as more snow was melting and running
The problem is
down,
it's been so extreme.
they were trying to keep up
The
with
last
everything
couple
they
weeks
could.
I
especially.
certainly understand that, but the
Yeah, no,
problem is downtown, obviously there's people that are not shoveling because they don't live here anymore. So there's more of a burden on the residents that do live here to alleviate the situation.
I'm not sure how we can accommodate the problem that on the side streets, we can't move cars. And if we can't move
We're not
cars,
told.
we can't go to curb.
Well, there were no cars and it wasn't curb to curb, so that's the problem.
I think a lot of it is that it's extreme cold and it's freezing too. To be honest with you.
And also, I've said it a few times, and Joe is, you always call the
I did,
and no dispatcher answered.
And no.
Maybe it was a late opening or something.
I found
And then
that
I
out.
left the message.
Someone couldn't get
I
a
know,
check.
but Mr. Hill's not always.
Joe, you can talk about it after.
Joe can talk about it.
She spoke, did we not?
I don't know.
Yeah,
You guys
spoke to
don't
me.
need involved in that.
I called
All right.
DPW,
I know,
and they were there 2 minutes later, so I told them.
They weren't.
Joe, if you wanna talk
I
privately,
actually
you can.
ran, when I heard them
Do
come.
you mind talking privately after the meeting?
Oh, sure.
We don't have to be
When
involved.
I heard I ran up, I literally was like,
Well,
I'll talk to
you
you.
know, one more question when you moved on from me before, and it's about the snow. Monday morning, I called into work because I knew it was going to snow all day and I wasn't driving to Freehold, so it didn't bother me Monday. But I went to the coffee shop at 9 o'clock and my friends and I were watching the car slide backwards down Waterwich Avenue. Cops came, the plows came, not a problem. A friend of mine works at the bank at 10:30 in the morning. She had posted on Facebook that she was still watching cars slide backwards down Waterwich. I don't know whose responsibility it is, but on days when the snow is not that bad, I'd like to know that I can get out of town and go to work. And I understand the snow came, it came hard, it came early, it came fast. I can see having problems, but if we knew a problem was happening at 9 o'clock, I don't know if it's our responsibility, because I saw our plows there, but I'm sure that was an emergency situation. Do we call the county? Do we complain to them? Who's responsible for the Waterwich Hill?
Waterwich to Linden is county.
Okay.
And we do call them, and we
Bridge
call
is
the
county.
state. The number of calls we had Monday particularly, I'll tell you this, 90% of the calls were complaining about the highway.
Correct.
And we tried to pass the info along, and DOT said, we're doing the best we can.
Right.
Coming down our hills, the county was aware of it. Our guys do try to do the best they can when they're notified. And again, I'll say this, I go up under the bridge. I don't even try to go up Miller Street or Linden.
See, I find under the bridge actually harder.
My Mustang is terrible in the snow, and it's the only hill I can do. But anyway, I do understand what you're saying. We do ask, and I know the police dispatch has been very, very good. We don't want to overuse that, but we do, they've been very good about getting emergency response out to our DPW guys as well. And that's what we hope to continue.
Just to kind of close it up is,
What's the contact information on the webpage? All the stuff you're talking about is layers of information that the public knew. You wouldn't field the phone calls if the public knew who to call.
I don't want to debate that, but when I tell people to look at the website, they tell me they don't want to bother with that. They want me to give them the information that they want right then. I do refer them to the website, Doug, but that's what I get on the phone. That's why we pay you. And
I was just going to remind people, because we do have, well, not only a lack of resources, but in any community, try to dig out your fire hydrants, try to dig out your drains. I mean, we do that up Linden, because it's your property that fire hydrant is going to save, or the flooding that's going to come up. They're coming around as much as they can, but, just as a practice, I've always kind of done it, just adopted what was in my area and just dig it out.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with that, with all due respect, is that there are a lot of abandoned homes now with drains, and the residents can't handle all that, all being able to drain, in their area. So that's a big problem.
The last couple of them heavy too.
Yeah.
All over.
So I wasn't done with my
Second by Ms. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francis?
Yep.
Ms. King? Mayor Knowles?
Yeah, Steve says no project, we haven't gotten something yet, he'll start.